Thing is rendering the whole tree every frame, yes. Yes. Is it worth thinking about potentially rendering to a texture? You could think about that. It's just that's a pretty high-res texture, and it's not going to save you a lot. And I don't know. I mean, it depends on what system you're talking about running on, what your data is expected to be, and so forth. I mean, like, look, if it's a completely static image like this, then you wouldn't even render it every frame, right? If it was expensive, you would do some kind of dirty rectangle thing. Now, or, yeah, you would render it to a back buffer and just blit that over. But in terms of, like, I actually think it's a good idea in terms of conveying information to people to have subtle things that matter. Like to have different roughnesses on these guys, and there's a light source somewhere that's moving a little bit to give you the information. We're obviously not doing that right now, but I think that's actually a useful thing. And so, that wouldn't, I mean, you could do that while rendering to a texture that's got many channels and then render it back, but like at that point, what's the point? At that point, what is the point? Did I hover over immediate quad? There you go. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is part 6. There may even be a part 7 later tonight, and then that'll probably be the end of this series because it was just a weekend thing. We've got a pretty good program for viewing tree maps, and it's working on real data that we care about, aka the data from this program. Now, in the last part, we added this UI to put borders between things, and there's some issues with this. It's kind of ugly by default. Firstly, I mean, these border settings are pretty big. This should probably be the THICC. And then probably medium should be thinner. Like this one's just stupid. But also, what we were looking at this and saying, there's two different kinds of border doubling problem that happen here. All right. One of them is inside out. So if I go medium on this, right, or I'll go thick on this. So you'll see we have a border from the module, that's the gray one, and then the olive drab green, it's not exactly what color that is. I don't know what color that is, but that color is also around the thing because it's a file, but it's only one file, so you don't really need it, okay? And so the question is, how do you know you don't really need it? And the answer is, well, you could look at your parent node, which is the module, and notice that you are extending out to the bounding box of the module, right? And then just not draw, right? But you would want interior borders, right? So that's one thing. Now, second is when you have things next to each other, you get double border, right? So if you zoom down here, you know, on this right-hand side, this border looks thin. It looks thicker here. Why does it look thicker here? Because there's two. There's one for this guy and one for this guy. And you could get around that. For example, I think if you said only draw borders on one side, on the west and south, unless you're on the edge, then don't draw them at all, right? And so I think if we applied both of those, it would look a lot better. Of course, it's ugly here. This looks like a pixel art indie game all of a sudden, whereas this is very beautiful, and even this is beautiful. So anyway, what I was thinking was, you know, at the end of last stream, I was like, okay, so obviously maybe there's some flags about which sides are active or whatever, and we pass the parent also to the border proc. Problem with that is it's complicated and it's also limited, because like, what if you did want to do title bars on some of the sections? That's sort of equivalent to a non-uniform border size, right? There's more on the top than on the sides and bottom, and there would be no way to represent that even with adding flags. So I decided, oh, you know what? Instead of adding flags, we'll just give you a pointer to an array of 4 border, you know? An array of 4 border values, one for each edge. And you just set those to whatever you want. And we'll pass the parent as well. And that should let us do all kinds of things, right? And I feel like that's very versatile and useful. And I'm wondering if it's time to pour my tea now. Why is there a double file border in the central module? I don't know what was central when, like, was I zoomed in when you asked that? Double file border. Well, we need to see file borders first. Oh, here? There's 2 files in this module, and one of them is really small. Right? This is wy/module, and this is wy/windows. So most of the stuff is in this file. Yeah. Sometimes things are going to look weird. But here's the thing. That's actually the data. Like, you noticed that. You said, dude, that's really weird. And it's like, okay, now we zoom in, and now we understand why it's weird. We understand something about the program. And sometimes those are trivial things that don't matter, but sometimes they really matter. And that's the benefit of a tool like this, right? So this is the idea, is to visualize things in a way that grabs attention and looks interesting, and etc. I'm going to get a little milk for this. Okay, so we're going to do that. And we still have to document it, by the way. So here's what we're going to do. On the display node, we're going to say, instead of border float, we're going to say border for float. you can index this by using the border direction values. Okay, so border direction is going to be an enum. East is 0, north is 1. We're going clockwise. Why does it go east, north, west, south? Because if you have a vector going along the x-axis, that's the direction it rotates as you increase the angle. Does that make the most sense? I don't know. I think so. Did I say clockwise accidentally? Yeah, counterclockwise. Right-handed order, right? Which is also, by the way, you know, if you learn quadrants in school, that's how quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 is, right? Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 are these directions plus epsilon and x epsilon degrees, and you ask what quadrant is that in? Why upload 6 verts per quad with triangles instead of 4 per quad with triangle strip? Because, like, the question is, how much do you want to optimize for quads versus other things, and does it matter? And the trade-off is having a simpler interface and less state to change, right? And less state to get wrong. So if you're always just rendering triangles with the same vertex format, then there's no state to worry about, right? Whereas if you're doing quads, like, yeah, it's just a different thing. Now, it may seem to you like usually you want to do quads, and in this case even, maybe you do, but if we even got a little bit fancier, we wouldn't necessarily want quads anymore, right? Positive y should have been down? Why? Why do you think that? Okay, so when we call the proc, oh, also, by the way, we're going to pass the parent. Okay, so border proc. Wait. Right. So getting the parent is a little bit non-trivial. So instead of returning something, we're just going to do this. Because maybe you only want to stuff a thing in one slot. I don't know. Okay. Recompute if dirty, right, because our Treemap border proc is the wrong type. So we're going to have parent is a display node, and border is a pointer to for float. Okay, so Oh yeah. Yes, this is going to get more involved. Okay. Okay. Yes. Wait. Okay, parent. How do we get the parent? Well, we have the node parent. Is it? Let's get index. Treemap root.parent. And then okay, so we do that. We size we call the border things, etc. Border values. Oh, yes, sir, Rooney. Yes, sir, Rooney. Ah. Okay. So now this part. How do I want to do this? Because if we clamp each one individually now, is that a good idea? I don't really know how to think about this. Should we allow people to have one border go past the middle, but the other one not? I kind of don't think so. Here's what we do. We could just advance all the stuff, and then if it passes each other, go back. Right? Like if the size.x is less than 0, let's try that. Okay, so we're going to do some stuff. We're going to do the corner plus equals border values west, border direction. Let's just do this. Border direction dot north, right? So east, west, S, south, okay? This is definitely more lines of code than it was. So root corner dot x plus equals west, so y plus equals south, size minus equals east plus west, all right? Y minus equals south plus north, well, okay, now, if root size.x is less than 0, root size.x equals 0, corner.x plus equals root size.x. Okay, we're going backwards. And then same. Wait. Is this right? Should we go backward by 1/2? We don't know, because one of the borders could still be 0, so no. I don't know. We're just going to do this. Not forget to paste the y. Okay. So, maybe this is something we could do. My other tea is getting a little cold. Why don't I put some... I'm already eating a bunch of ice cream. Why don't I put a bunch of honey in my tea also? Because... Any questions about what we're doing right now, by the way? Any questions? With Smiths and Wessons. What about some kind of gemstone? What? You mean for borders? We're packing rectangles. So there's still going to be rectangles on the inside. My variables are east, north, west, south. Oh. That's a good point. That's a good point. Treemap is a sorted hash map? No, you could look it up. You could look up what it is. I don't know, maybe there is something called a tree map. Okay. Okay. Corner, size, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Border proc. If we do this right now, okay, we got to fix that. Oh. We're just going to do this. Boom. All right, so now we're going to have no borders because our border proc does not fill them out. So, medium, thick, doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. I saw a line, but that was just me moving the cursor. Okay, so now we have to go. First, we'll make our border proc again, do the dead ass stupid thing. What are we doing? It's in lowercase Treemap. I was like, what's the, right? Yeah, no, border proc, there we go. Okay. If we have no parent, Don't worry about it. So now what we're going to want to do, so first we get the border thickness. If type is equal to module, B equals module border size, else if type is equal to file, B is file border size. Okay. If there's no B, we return. Okay, so now we have a B. So let's just, for this moment, right? Okay. You know, dealing with pointers to arrays being more convenient would be nice. And we sort of were tossing around a plan for that. And maybe we'll just do it at some point. All right. So now thick, medium. Okay, so this is all working. It's exactly the same as at the start of the stream, but the difference now is we could choose not to put things. So for example, suppose we only do west and south. Okay, module border, medium. Okay, it looks a little inconsistent, but that's because it's aliasing because it's so thin. If we zoom in, you see, and you see we're not doubling, right? We're not doubling, that's why it's thinner. Okay, that's just like better all of a sudden, right? Now, file border, medium. So now we still have doubling. Okay, so the file borders themselves are, again, they're better. They're more uniform. You only see them in between. Now the problem is we have doubling between these two border types, right? We've got outer and then inner. And so what we want to do now is if it's a file, check and see if, oh, and we only have to check the south and west edges. That's kind of interesting. This is more elegant than I thought, right? So we have to check the south and west edges of the dealy bopper. Okay, so it's a little bit non-trivial. Okay, so here we go. Do west is true. Okay, here's actually, here's what we're going to do. Explain why only west and south, and then if type is equal to module, we just do this, right? We'll probably combine these because, like, actually, let's just do this, right? So B is this, B is file border size. Just chop all this. Okay, if it's file, we're going to say parent west is parent dot, I don't remember. So we need the left border of the parent, right? We know each file's parent is a module, so we don't even bother to check that. Just are we on the edge of that parents space. Okay, so parent west is going to be parent dot, this is a display node, parent dot corner dot x, but plus whatever border they have, right? Plus parent dot border sub border direction dot west, all right? And then parent south is parent dot corner dot y south, all right? Now, d west is, we're gonna have epsilon is, I don't know, something like that. Epsilons are always pretty arbitrary. So d west is going to be oh, we don't know the coordinates. We don't know the coordinates. I could pass those, right? I mean, I don't love adding another argument, but yeah, we have the corner. Let's just pass it. Because this is all we need is actually the corner. Okay. So d west is corner minus parent west. If, actually, let's just do this. If corner minus parent west is less than or equal to epsilon, okay, then we assign, oh no, greater than epsilon. We assign. And if, oh, corner dot x, corner dot y minus parent south is greater than epsilon south. Okay. Expected a statement. Oh, this looks like a function call. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Q. Okay. Module border. Medium. Let's put thick. Okay. We didn't think about the top level modules. Maybe we want to do this for modules as well, but we only put this logic in files. So let's not do this. Thick. Okay. This kind of worked. This kind of works for all these areas where we have different files. Here, where there's only one file in a, okay. The reason it looks stupid here is because we're trying to avoid doubling up file borders with module borders, but I have module borders turned off. So there's no doubling up, right? If, on the other hand, right, so, wow, those look really thin at medium. Yeah. If, okay, let's start with module border medium, module border thick, okay? Why is there such a difference between the, okay, anyway. So here, and then if we go here, now it looks better because the module borders are here. So what we really want to do is say or there's no module border size, right? If module border size is 0, also just go ahead and write the west-south borders, because the reason to skip is to avoid double borders with modules, but if the module borders do not exist, this is not a concern! Exclamation point. If we are on the west or south border of our group, don't draw the border in that direction, since it will double up with the module border, which looks bad. But if module border size is 0, go ahead and write. Anyway, because if the module, I wrote the second half of the comment first, and that was not the best way to do it. If the module borders do not exist, doubling up is not a concern. And in fact, some stuff will look bad. We could also have a rule about, like, if the module border size is way less, do it anyway. Okay, we're going to increase these. Because they're not doubling anymore automatically. All right, so what did we say? File border. There we go. That looks pretty good, if I'm being honest. That said, I don't know why we have file borders on the west and south of the outer one, of all the outer ones. Why is that? It's like we're not doubling up on the inside, and in fact we're not missing any. But why here? So the parent of that is going to be some module. Oh, but the module border size is 0. See, we kind of want to check if we're at the very outer edge, you know? But I don't think I want to pass another parameter. Oh, but but we know that we start at 0. If file border medium, there we go. That's just, we know that we start at 0. And then we translate to get it where on the screen. So if we're on the outer edge, we just don't do it. And we should do that for modules as well, if I'm being honest, right? So none, module border, medium, right? So you see we're drawing on the bottom. So here's what we're going to do. Module border thick. Okay, there we go. That's maybe not. Yeah. Yeah. So really, I mean, that's kind of tasteful and reasonable. It looks a little crowded down here. We could also have some kind of adaptive where as the guys get smaller, beyond a certain size, it gets smaller. But then it's weird, like what do you do when there's guys next to each other again? It's a little bit questionable. If the module border corner is at the bottom left, we don't want to draw. I think that's what I was just saying, but maybe you typed that before I said it. Could scale by level. These aren't necessarily at different levels. In fact, they're not. All the files are at the same level of the tree. It's just these guys, these are smaller. The way the tree map works is that we pack big things and then small things. And so you're just going to get smaller as you go to the upper right here. Let's try both of these. Medium. Wow, it's pretty good, guys. I mean, the color still sucks. That green is bad. We could have it be more of a white. Like, what if it was just... I don't know if this is a good idea, but we could either... Let me just... I'm just going to have it be a greenish white that's brighter. If that doesn't work, we'll just have it be a white that's brighter and try it. Like, you could let people set it, but I'm always a big fan of... oh, that's ugly. It's like that green just doesn't go with reds, you know? And the module border color looks good. Well, this is probably going to look bad too. Oh, wait. Oh, no, this won't work. After having, that's not the worst. That's really not bad, if I'm being honest. Add color picker, yeah. I'm kind of happy with this, honestly. You don't really like the base orange, blue, tan. Yeah, I mean, we could provide ways of configuring that. I just don't want to, I don't want that to be part of the mission creep of this weekend project, but for sure you could do that. It looks orange just because it is orange. But when I say reds, I just mean in that part of the color spectrum. Like, this looks kind of pro, guys. Like, if I bought this as a professional tool, I mean, the button spacing is weird and the text spacing is weird, but if I bought this as a professional tool and I was like inspecting my program with it, I'd be like, hell yeah, brother, right? Until I did this, and then I'd be like, what the hell? What the hell? What the heck? This actually doesn't look that bad. That's how much we have improved this, is that even when you dial both of these to thick, it's not that bad. It just looks more like an indie game again. But maybe this is the defaults right here. Or, I mean, it just looks so nice though. Like, this also just looks nice. It just doesn't give you a lot of information, right? So I feel like module border medium, file border thin is a default that works. And one thing we could do later, so I'm doing this to sort of stress out the border code in, okay, well, let's do something stupid to stress out the border code. But, wait, wasn't there something else about modules that we had to do? Maybe not. Maybe not. Pick only one of two, none, none, and medium thin. What if it's, okay, how about this? I'll see you that idea and raise you the following idea. It's a drop down with 3 choices. No borders, module borders, and module and file borders. I think that's better, because who the fuck wants to do this? Like, this is fine for us right now, but color the module squares, remove all borders. What? How? You gonna color them random colors? We're using color perception to gauge code quality and so forth. So if you color things random colors, that's going to interfere with that process. Marketing is telling us consumers like thick options. WizTree doesn't have borders. Yeah, but it has less reason to have borders. This is a different tool. All right, but let's test something. Let's test being dummy thick by having title bar. We're not actually going to draw the text in the title bar. We're just going to test the idea of what if we wanted to have a title bar. And the way that we're going to do that is just every module is going to have on the north 8 times the border. All right? And that's going to be too big sometimes, which is also a little bit of a test. All right, so medium. That's all our title bar. See, it's a non-uniform border size, which is why this was a reasonable idea. To have 4 values. Dropdown is a 2D grid of file versus module borders and showing the borders rather than naming them. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely, like, showing the borders, I would do sometime. It's just a little bit off mission for tonight, right? Because we don't have that widget that does that. But honestly, I like the single drop-down idea. So let's take the W, except there's a no check in here. So we're going to temporarily do this. Treemap goodness. What was this? Oh yeah, that's not, that's, in fact, that's a Roberta Williams right there. What? Visual Studio just has to tell me about my trial expiring. All right. No check-in in Treemap. What did I do? Explain. Well, okay, we'll do that. Here we write into only the west and south border slots in order to prevent doubling up when two nodes are next to each other. It looks bad to have borders be twice as thick, sometimes for no apparent reason, for no good reason. There are some other stipulations behind whether we write a border. We know that the generation starts at corner, that the display node generation starts at corner 0, 0, and these coordinates are remapped later for display. So if x or y are 0, we know we are on the west or south edge, and choose also not to output a border because that is goofy and kind of unnecessary, because such borders are goofy and kind of unnecessary. Okay. All right. Dude, still, I didn't get them all. No check-in. Okay. Oh. Well, those get updated every frame anyway. So that's why those values didn't matter. I put the no check-in because I didn't want hard-coded values, but we ended up overriding on every frame. Okay. Automatically cycle between options. How about no? Okay. I'm probably going to go out in about half an hour, 35 minutes. So that's how much time we have to do this. Okay, so instead of this, border thickness names, we're going to have borders, and it's going to be none, just like the United States, right? Wrong file. We're going to have border names, none, just like the USA, module, and module and file. That's like modules and files. I don't know. It's like Dungeons and Dragons. Border, display type, none, modules and files too. All right, so we're going to have to change some things. Thingholios. All right, so this might not even be a wide enough drop down to draw that string. Border thickness. Get pixels. Oh yeah, what did we have? Get pixels. So file border is bool. If file border is equal to false, it's a module. All right, so what did we say? Medium on modules and then thin on files. So if file factor is if x file border, then 0.0015, else 0.003. Okay. And there we go. Easy clap. Integer multiplication's faster, probably. Okay, file border thickness module. Okay, yeah. This is now called border type index, and we get rid of this, and we get rid of these. Border display type, border display type equals modules and files. Wait, what am I doing? I'm like half in C++ here. At startup, we actually have to initialize this S32. It's freaking dumb. Actually, no. Actually, yes. Okay. Sag. Okay, so still a lot of things we need to change. Border thickness names, that is one of them. This is border names, and this is border display type index. Border thickness is not a thing. Module thickness. Yeah, okay. So all of this is border type is cast border display type index. Okay. If border type not equal to border display type is border type and dirty and false and true. True dat. Hey, there we go. Browse. There we go. And it really is not wide enough. Modules. Okay. This. Oh, right. We're always setting the values, by the way. So let's fix that. Okay. If border type is equal to, we must rebuild the Treemap display when the borders change, since aspect ratios of some things will change. That said, maybe this is bad because you don't want the data changing just because you tweaked borders. I don't know, man. Okay, so maybe that's a bad policy, whatever. If border type is equal to whatever, case, what are they? Module file and none, dot none. Equals 0, and file border size equals 0. Case.modules. Actually, let's just do this. Module border size equals this. Okay, and files, modules in files. See, like when you actually, like sometimes you might think that the long names that I use are silly, but it just says exactly what it is. And there's no confusion or question about, whoops, about that. Like sometimes it's so, okay, modules and file, we didn't change this yet. Modules, hey, none, hey, boom, boom, holio. I deserve ice cream. Okay, let's here, okay, our width is left drop down width, which is just something that we did. Okay, we're just gonna, later when we try to fit more things, we might be less hacky about that, but right now we're just gonna make it wider because we can. There we go. That doesn't even need to be. Doesn't need to be that big. There we go. Let's run this on this one. We should move that. Modules and files. Modules. None. Now here's the thing. This view mode, I actually want this to be a different color because this is like not like the others. Okay. I want it to be more violet. So it has nothing to do with the tree map, okay? We're just going to do this, view mode. So on the theme, let's just worry about, oh my God, there's so many colors. Current value, current choice. Is current choice when it's open? I don't understand why. Okay, so yeah. So this is current value, I think. This is current choice. Or no, maybe it's the opposite. Not very good naming on my part, I admit. Okay, whichever one's brighter is the selected value. And we're just going to add blue to all of these. Like, fuck it. All right. We're going to delete the frame colors. Frame color is going to be the same for now. We could bring that back if we want. Okay. Current value, current choice. Current choice is a lot brighter, so that's the down there. Okay, I'm just going to add 0.4 blue to all of these. All right. Not very scientific. There we go. There we go. I'm basically a UI designer at somewhere. It's a little too dark, but it's clear that one of these things is not like the others. So I think actually a little more red as well. Like, I want to say 0.2 red, except there. Well, not here. Let's see that. Hey, it's, see, now it's a little bright. I don't know. It's not perfect. Okay, the highlight color. Highlight colors for all of these need to go toward white by more. So the overcolor, the overcolor here, and the overcolor here. See how much time I'm spending on this? It's great. Okay, that's more responsive feeling. I mean, I could live with this for now. I don't, you know, I kind of want a gradient on it now. But like, you see what I'm saying? Now, okay, the problem is the border color over in this state. Current. Oh, the frame colors. Remember when I said I'm not going to do, let's get the frame colors. I'm gonna bring them back. I'm bringing sexy back, where sexy equals frame colors. Look at all this crap. Let's just do this one for a minute. Frame color is going to be more blue. Okay, frame color over. Frame color flash. Frame color down. I don't know, dude, why am I doing this? Because it's a thing to do. See, that looks better. The frame's not disappearing now when I mouse over it. Now it is disappearing for these kind of mostly. So we'll just do the same thing for those. Frame color, 0.9, 0.5, 0.8. Frame color over, 0.95, 0.795. Flash, down, 99. Okay. And then these are mellower, but similar idea. I don't know. I don't feel like I nailed that last one there, but you know, it's all right. It's all right. Ship it. It actually now seems, this one seems mellower, but this is a more of a major mode change, so maybe that's fine. Okay. This feels pretty good to me. So the last thing to do for this stream is to document the usage of the Tingtangler. Here. We provide the option of specifying intrusive borders for each square, borders that shrink the actual, for each rectangle, shrink the actual rectangle contents to the region inside the border. If you just want to draw borders over existing, see, we're explaining why. We're about to say there's this mildly complicated thing that you use to draw borders, but we're telling people why. We're telling them why. Okay? If you just want to draw the borders over existing, over pre-generated nodes, you don't have to think about this, but you may be overwriting smaller nodes, or it may just look bad. So we provide a facility to, so we provide a way to pass a function that gets called at each node that specifies the border in each direction. If you want to know why the arguments are exactly what they are, just know that we want to give you enough information to make sophisticated choices about border thickness, while, by the way, the Treemap view in examples codex view does some non-trivial logic to make the borders come out well. You can refer to that as an example. Okay. we want to give you enough information and sophisticated choice about border thickness, while, yeah, you know what? I thought it was, I was confused about something in my brain. I was like, oh, we can't pass the current node because the current node doesn't exist yet, but we could. Instead of passing you an array of 4 border values, we could have just passed you the whole node and have more properties in there. And maybe that'll be what we change it to later. But it doesn't really matter right now because you wouldn't. It would have mattered if we had gone with the way with like flags and some other things, so that there would be more stuff on the node. But right now there's literally just the 4 border values. Okay, border thickness. While ensuring that the Treemap algorithm makes good choices. Note that if a rectangle, note that when you add a border of constant width to a rectangle, the aspect ratio of that rectangle will change unless it was a square. And the Treemap algorithm uses the aspect ratio of the region to make choices. This is why we call a callback for each node, as opposed to giving you a way to specify borders in bulk before or afterward. Okay, see, tell people why the API is the way it is, and then they'll understand, right? Okay. Add the name of codex file to window title. Yeah, that's a good idea. In fact, what would be a good function that I don't think we provide right now, is to set the title of the window in a cross-platform way. Does window creation let us do that? If not, like obviously you can set it when you create the window, but I don't know if we provide people a way to do it after the window is created. That would be a thing to think about. Okay. Okay. To use this border functionality, declare a function of type border proc and pass it as the border proc argument to recompute if dirty treemap display. See additional information at the definition of border proc. Okay. Border proc is given the following arguments. Corner, the x0, y0 of the region being proposed for the tree map node before any border is added. The borders would then shrink the region, shrink the area used for active content in the region. Outer dimensions, the width height of the region being proposed parent or node, the tree map node that is currently being laid out, we could have just passed the display node. Like I said, I thought we couldn't, but you can look at the user data slots on node to help decide what you want to do with regard to borders. Parent, the parent display node of the display node being worked on, being built currently. Note that parent.node is the tree map node corresponding to this display node, so it will have user data, etc. Okay, border values, an array of 4 border thicknesses in the same array of 4 border thicknesses. We provide these values. Why did I make it an array? Why didn't I just make it a struct, guys? Because it's east, north, west, south. I don't fucking know. Anyway, these values, it could be a struct with an array. These values are used for the east, north, west, and south border thicknesses in that order. In that order, which is the same as specified by the border direction enum, which you can use to index these. The border values will all be zeroed before the call to border proc. You are free to only touch the values you want to modify. Okay, that seems fine. Do we need to explain more things? What do you guys think? Yeah, no, why explanations are huge, dude. They're huge. The only problem is sometimes the reason why things are is so extensive you kind of can't even write it in comments. That's the only problem. Second line of parent comment is not aligned. Yeah, good point. You know, this alignment out to here is not the best thing anyway. I don't know, but whatever. Whatever, man. We wrote the comment. This has been a good series, guys. We've really got a lot of good work done. We have a useful tool that has already been used to find bugs successfully in the programs, which is great. I wasn't even expecting to get to utility this weekend. There is one more thing I want to do. We're about to end this stream, but there's one more thing I want to do tonight, probably, and that is going to be to go here, this size children function, which is currently recursive down here, and we want to make it iterative. And I think that's going to be easy. But we'll do that, and then maybe that's putting a lid on it. Do I do any type of documentation outside of the source code? Sometimes the problem is when you document things in other files somewhere, like maybe people don't see those files. Maybe they don't know where to look for them. Maybe your wiki goes down. Or your, Basecamp or your Bandcamp or whatever. All right, guys, we're going to run it one more time so we can appreciate what we got. We literally, at the beginning of the weekend, it was like, oh, you know what? Well, let's do it. At the beginning of the weekend, I was like, I wonder if I can make tree maps work, because they seem simple, but who knows? And they were simple, and we definitely had some bugs and some complications. Let me make that clear. But seriously, it was less than 48 hours ago that we started this, and it's not like I've been working all weekend. I've been taking lots of breaks and doing lots of fun things, and we have a tool that did not exist before, which is nice. And here's the thing. It probably took equal or less time to do this view than it took to do this view, which is less good, right? I mean, this view gives you some information, but it also has some artifacts, and like the screen pixels are not all used to compare to provide good information, right? Whereas here it's like it's all information. That's the other thing, guys. This information that you see here, I'm off center a little bit, but this information is the same information in some sense as all of this, right? It's just a better way of displaying it. Oh, what? Why did I get a mouse down there? I might have fat fingered that. If you understand correctly, we draw the borders over the rectangles. No, we're actually drawing them under. Yeah, nobody is overdrawn by the border. That's why we did the border callback. If you just want to overdraw, you don't need the border callback, because we would just generate the rectangles and you can look at them afterward, right? The reason we're doing this border callback is so that because we're modifying the shape of the rectangle in the callback. Did the mouse hover outline get thicker? It does seem like it did. I wonder if we changed some value relevant to that. That's weird. Huh, it does look better. I kind of don't know why that changed, which is a little bit disturbing, but you are correct. It was like you could barely see it before. Maybe it's because we went here first. I bet that's it, right? So if I just go without going there, yeah, see how it's little? So there's some code in there that's initializing. So see how thick that is? And now we go back here, boom. So that's a to-do for the next stream, is fix that. What's the logic like to size the rectangles? You can watch the other videos in this series. We go into quite detail. There's a paper. If you want to read the paper, it is this paper. I could paste it in the chat. It's a very easy paper. It's like approximately the easiest computer science paper ever, which is, you know, that's good if you want to read and understand and implement something. All right, we're going to take the W. I actually wonder now if there's later tree map papers that do things. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll do a part 7 tonight, probably. I give it an 80% chance that we do that. If not, it's been a good series. If so, we will conclude it in a nice way.